All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Raiders Report. Today, we are joined by a pretty special guest. Just a little context, he was a big part of the 2011-2012 Nepean Raiders team that brought home the Bogart Cup against Cornwall and finished second in the Fred Page Cup. And that doesn't even scratch the surface of his playing career. He went on to play for the Halifax Mooseheads in the Q and won the President's Cup with them in 2013. He was drafted by and currently plays for a small team called the Florida Panthers. Might have heard of them. We thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to have you. And how are you doing, Mackenzie Weegar?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to join you. And let's talk some hockey. Let's talk some Nepean Raiders, good memories, and let's have some fun.
Let's do it. Awesome. So like off the bat, I'll get right into it. I just want to ask about your off season. How's it going? And whether you spend, I know we chatted a little bit. You're spending some time in Ottawa, or are you in and out, or what's your situation?
Yeah. So the season obviously ended for us. I would say it'd be close to 2 months now, maybe a month and a half. I spent some time in Florida. Just kind of took my time coming back, obviously with the restrictions and stuff here.
Right.
Just was a little difficult crossing the border with the quarantine and stuff, but eventually just made my way here. Finishing up quarantine actually tomorrow, so that'll be nice. And then I'll just start training again here. Same trainer that I always train with, Sean Young, near Westboro area. And
Right.
then hopefully we can get some of the rinks open up here and get to skating again and just do my usual routine during the summertime in Ottawa.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's looking like things are going to start opening up again. So hopefully we'll get some more facilities going for, I'm sure a lot of people are missing it. So
Yeah,
hopefully that gets going.
absolutely.
What was your experience, kind of growing up in Ottawa and playing in the city?
I always had great experiences. It's kind of the one thing that I do look back on growing up in minor hockey here in Nepean. Still keep in touch with some of the kids that I used to play with back in the day, even at 12, 13 years old. It's kind of growing up here, everybody's seems to be sticking around in Ottawa. A lot of people still love living here, and it's a great city. So I get to see everybody that I used to play with once in a while, going out or randomly seeing them around the city. So minor hockey was great growing up here, and still love coming back here and being in Nepean.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would take you back to, 2012 and talk about your time with the Raiders. You were there one season, a very successful season, obviously for you guys.
Yeah.
And lots of great names on that team as well. Ben Hutton, Craig Cowie, Ken Neal. A lot of I could go on. What do you remember from your time with that team and that season?
We had a lot of fun. It was such a tight group. The guys that you just mentioned, great guys. If I were to see them today, we'd catch up, maybe grab a beer, and it would just be like old times. Brent Norris, Dalen Hedges, Brandon Watt, all those guys were awesome. Ryan Johnson. You can go, on and the list goes on. And obviously the biggest memory with that team was obviously winning it all there and moving on to the Fred Page. That was also another exciting little tournament there. But the whole season was it happened so quick, and we were so good. And Peter Goulet was a tremendous coach for me. Super big-hearted guy, humble, and could get the most out of you. So,
Right.
so I think just the biggest memories I had were just the friendships that I still have with those guys, and obviously winning that championship we'll always remember.
Yeah, awesome. Did you find there was a difference playing in the Fred Page versus playing, in the Bogart Cup?
Cornwall was actually a really good team that year. They had the twins there. A couple other guys, I forget their names now. It's dating me back a little bit. But they were a tremendous team. But that tournament was definitely different, or whatever it was. We played that Woodstock team in the finals. It could have came either way. But it was a lot of fun. It was great hockey, and obviously I wish we would have came out on top to go to the RBC Cup. Who knows what
Right.
would have happened, but that's the game of hockey. It's a game of inches, and it was a lot of fun playing in that tournament as well. Good
Yeah,
experience for me.
it's awesome. I know we just talked about some teammates. Is there a teammate that stood out to you at the time for one reason or another?
Craig Cowie, was a great role model, I think, for that whole team. He, I still can go over my captains to this time, and I think he, at that time, he was probably one of the best captains I ever had. He was just a tremendous leader, another guy that with the big heart, and he just said things at the right time. If you needed to get a little, a little spanking, he'd give it to you. But at the same time,
You need that.
yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, he let you hear it if you're having a great game. So he kind of showed me how to be a leader. And, I think for myself as one teammate that stood out was probably Craig Cowie for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had the chance to chat with him on one of these. So, a really nice guy and had a lot of good things to say as well.
Yeah.
So you made the jump to the Q, joining the Halifax Mooseheads, and a strong team there as well. Playing with some big names there as well. Nathan McKinnon, Jonathan Drouin. Again, you could go on, for a while. And lots of success there as well. What do you think about that team made it so successful?
Well, other than McKinnon and Drouin, there was a lot of depth on that team. The third and fourth lines there, I don't think deserve, or they don't get enough credit they deserve. Sorry. Champini, Boudreau, McCauley, Alba Chauser. There's some great D on that team. Trey Lewis. There was just that whole team was put together, and we meshed so well together. I know McKinnon and Drouin obviously led the way, but there was just a bunch of guys, role players that were so great in that playoff run for us. We were kind of unstoppable. Fucali was playing great, and Ferk was stepping up at the right times with his big bomb, and even Don Boucharmie's coaching in the Stanley Cup final. He's obviously a great coach, and he knew how to coach that team. Even with those superstars, he sort of knew how to get the most out of them at times. They were young, so they kind of needed to learn as well. So that whole team everybody just came together at the right time and meshed well together. And Cam Russell, the GM there, put together a great team.
Yeah. In your junior years, what's a lesson that you learned that stuck with you your entire career?
I think for me the biggest thing for me was kind of to adapt to any situation and sort of never lose your confidence. You never know what role you're going to get. You could go onto another team, and the role that you had's already taken by somebody that's already been in that role who might be a little bit better than you. So, when I made the jump to the NHL, I kind of had to be more of a defenseman and more of a defensive role, and, work my way up to being that offensive guy again. And if you want to stick around in leagues, you kind of have to adapt to your role and figure out a way to stick around. So I think that's always stuck with me.
Yeah. And you talked about confidence a little bit. Up to that point, lots of success, winning. How much does winning factor into a player's confidence, and how did it factor into yours?
Yeah, I think, even junior B, we were winning. I can go back to Winchester. We made it all the way to the finals, and we were winning there. We lost in the finals, but then we moved to junior A, we win, and the Mem Cup, and we win. And I think when you move on to winning, everybody around you sees you as a winner. So everybody's sort of praising you all the time, and they're kind of giving you the confidence. When you hear it from other people, it obviously helps. But
right.
Sometimes if you don't hear it from other people, I think that's when your mental game has to kick in, and you gotta stick with the confidence that you had when you were a winner. And your peers, your teammates will always give you that confidence. I don't think they'll ever not let you down. So you kind of have to have a great supporting cast and some great teammates around you to keep that confidence going for yourself.
For sure. Like when things are rolling, and people are going to let you know, but it's when you're down that you still need to find that extra step and get that confidence. So yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about in the NHL and any league really about just the mental aspect. And it's probably one of the toughest parts of all the players I've talked to. It's not an easy thing to just get your head back into it. It's tough. So that's super interesting.
The mental game's probably just as hard as the on ice stuff. So, guys go through slumps, and it's just finding that, maybe that one goal, that one nice play, or, coach might say something that, fires you up again, and all of a sudden you start getting on a roll again. So it's just those little things that can go a long way for yourself.
For sure. Awesome. drafted in the seventh round in 2013. What was it like kind of finally being selected? And because you hadn't been drafted in earlier years, so that must have been
Yeah.
pretty fun to get your name called.
Yeah, it was a funny experience. It was a long day for me. I actually went to the draft. My agency had a bunch of players that were going in the first, whatever round, and you always think you're gonna go earlier than what you think. People are kind of telling you, oh, you're gonna go in the fourth or fifth round, blah blah. But I was waiting there for a while, obviously, and they finally called my name, and I think we might have been one of 20 people still in the arena. And
Oh, no way.
you could hear my mom scream through the whole arena. So it was a fun experience, and that just goes to show you whether you're drafted first overall or in the seventh round. It doesn't really matter, and
Doesn't matter.
it's just as exciting. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure that was a fun way to top off the night. You guys probably had a good
yeah,
time after that.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
So after being drafted, you turned pro, played in the A for a bit, and joined the Panthers roster sort of full time 2017. What do you remember about your first season, and how different of a player, sort of a follow-up question, how different of a player do you think you are now?
Yeah, the first season was it was different. Obviously, playing bigger minutes in Springfield in the A. That's kind of where my true confidence I think built from was with Jordy Kinnear in Springfield. He developed me well. He knew the roles I needed to play, and obviously led me to Florida wanting me to come up and get involved in that team, and played a couple games at the end of that year, and then came to training camp and made the roster as sixth, seventh defenseman, in and out of the lineup. And then I think, through halfway through the season, found that role I was talking about, just playing consistent defense. And Bob Bugner, the coach at the time, was, he was a defensive coach. He liked when we played solid D and the offensive chances would come. And so I kind of adapted to that role, 5-6 D, just play your role. You're not going to play big minutes, but don't get scored on, and sort of took pride into that. And from there, the other seasons after that, Q came in, and he wanted a two-way defenseman, play great D and get up in the rush. And he gave me all the confidence to get up there, and obviously moved with Aaron Ekblad, and things took off from there. Just been playing solid and trying to improve every year.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't think anyone would debate that you've had quite a great season, especially this last one here. Um, Again, that must be something, we go back to confidence. That must be something pretty good for your confidence and going into next season.
Yeah, I think with Eki going down, I kind of took it upon myself to step up a little bit, which I did, thankfully. But I think every season I just kind of go in with the same mentality, just try to get better every single year. Who knows what the roster is going to be like or who I'm playing with. I just want to play my game and what I'm successful at, and how I help the team out. So that's just kind of my mentality, and hopefully next year we have a better season and we make it further in playoffs, and I improve as a player.
Awesome. Yeah. I was going to touch on just the team, from my perspective is also, it's super exciting, the games that you guys have been playing. You guys are playing strong offensive games, and
Yeah.
it's fun, and it's have you been noticing, obviously crowds not huge because of COVID, but have you been noticing a little more hype maybe surrounding the team?
Yeah. I think after the season that we just recently had, obviously one of the better teams in the league, obviously our division, with Carolina and Tampa and us as well, and even Nashville too, the top four teams were, those are solid teams, and that was a tough division to get out of. So the fact that we made it, had that good of a season, I think the buzz in Florida is getting bigger. I think obviously after that playoff series with Tampa Bay, the Battle of South Florida there was really exciting for a lot of fans.
Right.
So I think the buzz is getting big in Fort Lauderdale. There's some big things to come, and I think Bill Zito's done a great job, bringing players in. Everybody sort of stepped up at the right time this season. So a lot of high expectations for us next season, and excited to see what we can do for sure.
Awesome. I'm going to change lanes a little bit here. Just asking I asked a few of my a few people around me in my circle what kind of questions I should ask, and one of them that one that I got that I really liked. What's the craziest ritual you've seen from a player?
Craziest ritual. Um, I think there's quite a few. I think, Barkov does like a bunch of these squats before a game. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know how much he has on the bar, but he's squatting. His legs are huge. I know there's just a lot of guys that like little superstitions that, you can't touch their gear. Their gear's in a certain spot every time. For myself, I get criticized all the time for these underwear I wear. They're actually like so ripped up, and they've been sewed 40,000 times, and the boys just give it to me. But I've had them since my first year pro, and I can't get rid of them. They're my lucky boxers, so I wear those. But I think everybody just got their thing, and nobody really says anything about their ritual. You kind
right.
of just see it,
Everyone
and you
respects
don't
it,
really
right? Like,
comment. Yeah, you don't really comment on anybody's rituals. Maybe with like a goalie, or Bobrovsky has a bunch of crazy things that he does, and but you kind of just mingle to another player and have a couple of chuckles, but you'll never bring it up to the actual player. You kind of just let him do his thing, and
yeah,
let him get focused for the game.
yeah. You definitely don't want to break that focus.
No, no, no.
Awesome. Um, I know that your first game ever was against Montreal. Have you? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you've been following the playoffs. What are your thoughts on the Cup final and how things are going over there?
It's I watched the game last night, and I was talking with one of a few of our buddies, and Montreal's done a great job. Obviously getting to where they are. I don't think it's a fluke to where they're at. Obviously great for Canada, and great for the game. Having a team like that in the playoffs, but playing Tampa all year long, it's kind of meeting the final boss for
Right. Yeah.
Montreal. And they got a big test. That team, with Vasilevsky back there, Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, Hedman, they're such an unbelievable team, and their depth is so, they have players on every single line and
Yeah.
superstars on every line. So it's going to be a test for Montreal. I'm excited to see what they can do, and hopefully they can give Tampa a good run, and hopefully get a game 7 going. And who knows what can happen.
Who knows?
I don't really know who to root for. I'm not really rooting for anybody. It'd be great
Yeah.
for the Stanley Cup to come back to Canada. It'd be a ride here, but
Oh yeah, it
um,
would. Eh?
yeah. But the final should be exciting time, and I'm actually heading to Montreal this weekend, so
Oh, there you go.
it should be fun to see what the city's like and the buzz is like down there with these games going on.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I can sort of equate it to is when the Raps won 2019.
Yeah,
I wasn't there for the parade or anything, but I was there when they won like game 4 or something, or game
yeah,
3, and the streets were insane. Like it was just like game
yeah,
3 or something, but they were going insane. Everyone
yeah,
was out partying. Like it was such a
yeah.
good time. So
Yeah. And I like that. I like seeing that, Canada and all the cities buzzing. And that's why, it's good. It's good to have the Montreal back in the Stanley Cup, and hopefully, that everyone can stay safe, and we don't see
yeah,
too many cars on fire, and they don't do anything
hopefully
so
not.
stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah. So everyone has fun and has some beers, but stay safe.
Awesome. Yeah, no, stay safe for sure. Um, I got one more question for you. I asked this to pretty much every guest who comes on here because I think that everyone's experience is different going through, even though they're going through similar things, the experience is always different. And there's a million lessons to take from a million people.
Hmm.
What advice would you have given yourself when you were starting playing out and starting thinking about getting pro? And
I always say, the one thing I can attest to, and growing up, just kind of, with all the politics and whatever growing up as a young kid, always, all the haters are going to hate on you, but you just use it as motivation, use it as fuel. That's kind of what I did. I always kind of wanted to doubt, always prove the doubters wrong. The people that didn't believe in me, obviously was a late bloomer. I still had some obstacles that I had to overcome, and I just sort of use it as motivation for myself, and that really helped me grow as a man, and it helped me grow as a player. So that's all I have to say. That would be my advice for sure.
well, that is That is good advice, 100%. Yeah, I was thinking about what you said about haters. I mean, like Robin Leonard, he said he went on Twitter, 3 hours before the game or something just to read the hate and kind of motivate
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
So I mean, obviously guys approach it differently, but it's
yeah,
interesting that the way that plays into it. But anyways, um, a little
yeah,
tangent there.
yeah.
Uh, Listen, I don't have any more questions for you. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a real honor to have you join us for this episode, and we're rooting for you. Good luck next season, and hopefully you guys can get far in the playoffs and maybe bring one back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and I'll be following along the Nepean Raiders this year, and good luck with everything. So I appreciate you having me, man.
Of course, of course. Thank you.